we are moving to our first part of the conversation. And interestingly, coming Saturday, 19th of November 2022 is International Men's Day. That's something interesting coming up there. And there's an upcoming program, and the theme is Mobilizing Male 2022. Take off your marks. And I can't wait for this amazing man. This is my second time interviewing him, Amos Kevin-Annan, who's a creator and a convener. And when it comes to these things, he's pretty amazing, and he's good with it. And we have him in the studio to tell us more about the Mobilizing Male 2022, taking off the marks. Which marks?
Nanaya,
It's
good to see you,
yes.
Helen and Desmond.
It's just exciting how it's about males, and Nanaya is super exciting about it.
She has to. It's time to celebrate the men.
Yes,
Definitely,
I'm
definitely.
surprised.
all this years.
No, you know, we have International Women's Day. That's
And usually 1 month before,
exactly.
there is a hype.
Yes, and there's Mother's Day.
That's when the hype
Then
is over the top.
Yes,
Super.
and there's Father's Day,
Okay.
and now there's International Men's Day.
Sadly, on Father's Day, we still talk about mothers.
Yes,
Anyway,
it's good. Anyways, Kevin, it's good to have you.
Oh, it's an honor to be here again. And
I
to be
mean-
sitting in your company. This time, 3 people.
Oh, on our table of life.
the table of life.
On
You're
the table
welcome.
of life. This is-
Okay,
yeah,
I like the
it's
table too.
of
It's
life.
nice.
But then,
And it's big.
Kevin, let's move straight to the conversation.
All right.
What's interesting about this particular day? What does the day represent?
Well, I mean, it's a very important day. It's a day that we, first and foremost, we acknowledge the contributions of men. Secondly, we also celebrate the masculinity. You know, it's easy. I'm a father of 2 daughters, so if you celebrate women, it's not a big deal for me. But what we see is the need to highlight some of the good deeds of men. It's easy to flog them with all the bad characters and all the toxicity that is mentioned with masculinity. So there's a need to model another version of masculinity, which is not hurting to the feminine folks.
True.
So essentially, this day focuses on ensuring that we celebrate that.
Okay.
It's not a day of bashing.
Okay. It's a day of creating awareness. Everything has to do with men. But then let me ask this interesting question. Do men face challenges?
Yeah, I mean, men face challenges.
That's
It is,
what-
it is the reason.
it's okay.
It's the reason we are calling them to take off the mask, because there is this stoic masculinity, which is that you don't show weakness, you don't show vulnerability, you don't shed tears, you don't tell people you are afraid.
Yes.
But men face challenges, and the challenges could be daunting. One of them is how we socialize them, how we raise them up, and that poses a major challenge. If you look at many parents, they raise the girl with emotional
Support.
heart. They make them emotional. They can express their sentiments, but the boy is muted in the area of his emotions. And if he's going to show an emotion at all, it's frustration and anger. And they grow up with that and take it into relationships. And it becomes a nightmare of an experience for the ladies. And when they go into marriage, it's even worse, because they become beastly in their behavior. And that is not what society deserves. We deserve better.
But that's how society has created men to be like.
Well, thank God I wasn't created like that. I mean,
You know, men are built to take charge. They are impacted with so many responsibility, because society feels like, oh, women are soft. Even though some women are very tough, men are actually created in that particular way. So are we to say that society didn't really do a good job, or society is turning everything upside down?
not necessarily so. Whilst we are getting them to be tough, we can also help them to be tender.
Okay. Okay.
There's a tough side of a man, and there's a tender side of a man. So a man could be like a lion. He roars when there is danger, when there is imminent threat to his space. But he can act like a lamb when he's nice, caring, and loving. You know, so we need that aspect also to be developed.
Okay.
It won't come naturally because the environment is not creating that.
Okay.
Now, women find it easy to be tender, but there's something about women which has to do with their trust. And they grow and thrive on trust. So if you have a guy who is rough and tough, look, you're going to mess up any woman who comes into your life. Because what keeps a woman is the tender side of you, not the tough side of you. She needs the tough side when there is danger, imminent threat. But she needs your tenderness that makes you show compassion, makes you show empathy, make you also human.
Yeah.
But where a man shows no weakness, sheds no tears, has no fears, that man is potentially going to destroy himself. And if he doesn't, he will destroy those around him.
This is a very important thing as a man and to other men out there. This is something that we need to talk about. Now, you are an elderly person. You must have also interacted with a lot of young people like myself.
I've worked with young people for 32 years.
Great. So, I mean, all over these years, what do they say to you? I mean, are they afraid of what is to come for them in the future? Are they afraid of, what society is thinking about them? You need to take charge. You need to do this at this certain age. If you don't have that, you've got issues with society. All of those things. If you could just share some with us.
I had a boys' session on masculinity and sexuality on Wednesday in an international school. And one of the boys stood up and said, "Uncle, I have a question. My question is this. When I go to the pantry for extra food, they say there's no food. But when I tell my girls to go and get it, they go and bring it, and they give it to me. Why are they doing this to us? It's not once, not twice. It's been recurring. So the boys now are feeling the pinch of reverse discrimination. Okay. Beijing did a great job enhancing, leveraging women and girls and all that, to the extent that there was a new nomenclature, girl child. A child was supposed to be a child, but there was differentiation. Okay, now that has predisposed the boys to a place of potential depression, panic, fear, anxiety, and you see it. Go to preschool graduation. You see the boys sitting like this. They mention the first 10 girls, and a boy comes. It's almost like dispersal of seeds. So sporadically, you find boys in between chunks of girls. And you see all the boys sitting like this and watching in bewilderment. And for me, that's a big statement. You go to junior high school, it's the same. Go to tertiary school, it's even worse, because I sat on university campus for 15 years with university students, and I see it at graduation. You see the girls rising, pop, 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 pop. Now, what is happening is this, that the insecurity it is breeding in boys is crazy. And something has to be done by letting the boys know that there's enough for everybody. The success of a girl does not mean your failure.
True.
And when people do not operate on a zero-sum mindset, we're able to become good collaborators and cooperate together. So here you are in the midst of Nana and Helen. You don't feel threatened by their success. They should also not be intimidated by your success. We should say that there's enough for everybody. But what we see right now is not that. I was in Cape Town for a meeting. Now, a lady who was leading us in the conference wore a T-shirt with the inscription, "The future is feminine." Think about it. You have a brother or a sibling or a relative who is sitting there, and he's been made to believe that the future is feminine. What hope does he have? What future does he have? And so the insecurity then sets in a panic reaction.
Okay.
And that is something we need to now engage the boys in. I was in one secondary school. Look, this is big, international. Boy after boy telling me their bouts with depression, taking overdose of drugs, attempted suicide, and something needs to be done. I'm on 5 platforms with men. All we talk about is food, sports, politics, betting. Nothing about health, nothing about connection, nothing about leveraging on business. I'm on women's platform where I'm the only man because I'm like a chaperone for them. And they're talking about health, they're talking about networking, they're talking about mentoring the girls. They're talking about leveraging on business. They're talking about acquisition of property. The men, we're just having fun.
Yeah.
And one of these days, we'll wake up and realize that the women have changed. And the world, in the last 80 years or so, women have changed significantly. My mother was a domestic manager. My wife is not. She's a corporate person. And that shift, many men have not even realized it.
Yeah.
And so they are living with their ladies and wives like their father did. And when you do that, you are finished. You're doomed.
So are you saying that, women are being empowered
more than men.
Oh,
you are taking-
certainly. Certainly. I heard Nana Kunedu Ajima Rawlings, Mrs. Former president's wife. She says, and I quote, I was part of Beijing. We advocated for the girls and the women. We empowered them over the period. Now I sit back and I see our boys, and I think we need to pay attention to our boys. End of statement.
Okay.
So what
The
can boys
from
need
a woman of that
attention?
stature.
We need attention
The guys
too.
need attention. That is why we have the upcoming
the events coming up.
The events coming, mobilizing.
Mobilizing males.
They should
We
what?
started in 2017.
Okay, and this year too we are going to. So
Yeah,
take us through it.
2022. Okay, so this is what is going to happen. So we try as much as possible to create a forum where fathers and sons sit together to hear the same thing, so that there's no what is referred to as generational gap. We want the men and the boys to be there and hear the same thing, so that there's no disconnection. So at Mobilizing Males, we started off as an exclusively male event. But we also realized on the third edition, a mother walks in with 3 sons, and I says to her, Mom, you can't enter because it's for men only. Some things are for men. And she says, I have 3 sons. There they are. So I said, no. So she goes out and she sits outside and wait for the program to end, apparently listening. So when I was taking the boys out, I met the woman. I said, Mom, you have been here? She said, yes. I listened. And I heard a voice tell me, if this woman, attempting to do all she can to raise these boys, if these boys don't turn out well, I will ask you. That was our third edition. So from that day, we changed. And we said, if you're a daughter to a father, you can come and sit and listen. If you're a lady with a guy in your life, come and listen. If you are a sister to a brother, come and listen. If you're a wife to a husband, come and listen. Because whilst women, when you're going through challenges, you're looking for a place to talk.
Yeah.
Men, when they're having challenges, they're looking for a place to think. Because men largely are processors. So I found many ladies, they're in relationship with guys, and say, I want him to talk. He's not talking. No, give him space to process. Until he's done with his processing, a man isn't going to talk. So this year, we have seen an issue that we want to address. Because the IMD, the International Men's Day event, the theme is friendship or mateship. But we have chosen to talk about take off your mask. Because we've seen that every time you tell a man up, they mask up. Now, how do we help them to do the taking of the mask? It would take nice environment, respectable engagement, and challenge of a new paradigm. And so we've invited Professor Stephen Adair to come and speak about the issue of fatherhood, a critical need for this generation. There are too many fatherlessness in the land. Now, we've also invited Dr. Joyce Ayi to speak to them on men walking worthy, because they need that. Then I have my friend Michael Ohini-Efa. Ohini-Efa, Michael, is a boys coach, and so he's coming to talk about the kind of a man who can mentor boys. And then he will show us the things that disqualify us from mentoring boys. It's not everybody who should be exposed to boys. Some will produce more toxicity in them. Then there is Auntie Dede Amano, who is coming to lead us to do what we call the Faithful Fatherhood Resolution. So there's a certificate we're going to give to every father who comes there. And there are lines that they have to commit to, and all the facilitators will sign off as witnesses for them. So we are taking off the mask. It's on Saturday, the 19th of November.
Yeah.
At the Dome near ATTC, Kokomlemle, just opposite Challenge Bookshop. Starts at 1 p.m. and ends exactly at 4 p.m. It's a free event. All my events are free except the couples event, which is residential. Yeah. It's free. And thankfully, a donor has donated 200 T-shirts for free.
Okay.
In fact, this one I'm wearing was donated by a young man who heard about it and says, I want to bless the program. So I give every facilitator one of those, and he branded it. In fact, the other T-shirt is branded with Metro Television.
Oh, so it is here.
Great.
So it is here. Okay, we'll take it back.
We'll take it later.
We'll take it later. We'll take it later.
I guess it's a very good one that
Yeah.
everybody needs to be on board. Like you said, it's International Men's Day, but everybody has a man one way or the other around. So Nanaya and Helen need to make sure that they.
We have to be there.
No, but
yes.
do you know the irony of the day? That same day is declared as International
Toilet
Day.
Day. I knew that. Yes.
And for a very long
I
time,
don't want to
I've watched media houses highlight that.
rather than
Rather than
the
the
International
true,
Men's
true.
Day. Yeah.
Hopefully this
And it
time
breaks
around
my
it
heart.
changes.
Last year, the International
join
Toilet Day.
join the solidarity.
I will join. I'm joining.
That's what
We-
join the solidarity.
Definitely,
Join the
yeah,
we have to take that off and focus more on the
Let's
men.
change the story.
Yeah, not
Yes,
International
yes,
more
yes,
Toilet Day.
yes. Amos, any
Hi.
final message?
Well,
you
I mean,
want to-
anyone who wants to get
Yeah.
one of the T-shirts, you have to register.
Okay.
There's a link on my Facebook, Amos Kevin-Annan. The Kevin-Annan is KEVIN-ANNAN. Just go there, look for you see the event artwork. There's a link, just click, and then you can register.
Okay.
If you need to contact us on any telephone number, it's 0266 803285. 0266 803285. It promises to be a reflective occasion. Somebody has donated ice cream for all the boys and popcorns. So all the little boys who are coming.
Wow, popcorn and ice cream.
Yes,
The person really
yes.
wants to
Yeah, he wants to
the
bless
men,
the boy.
right?
It's a men's
It is our
ministry of
day.
the
It
Assemblies
is
of
our
God
day.
Wow.
who donated it, and they said that this should be something they give to their boys. We want to encourage the boys to understand they've got big brothers, they've got uncles, they've got fathers. If you have a struggle, suicide is not a solution.
True.
Talk to somebody, open up. There's nothing wrong with a man showing weakness. There's nothing wrong with shedding tears.
Bema
I've
Su.
shed tears many times, and I'm still a man.
Bemasu. Thank you very much.
It's
Thank
an
you very
honor.
much. And
I'm delighted.
I just
Thank you
hope
for your company.
everyone goes to listen to this. And like he said, we are trying to make International Men's Day, not international. The other one we know. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.